George,
What's
Leroy, how
happening?
are we? How are you guys? How's chat? How are we all going? Bancroft says, way to nail the aspect ratio, Rob. Yes, it is. It is perfect. I have noticed that many a time, Michael. What's news, George?
Oh, having a great weekend. Happy Father's Day, by the way, for everyone here in the U.S. It's still Father's Day. Did you have Father's Day yesterday, Rob, where you were at?
No,
Oh,
we've had Father's Day. I can't remember when it is. My wife
oh,
just tells me, and I'm like, all right, sweet, let's do it.
all right.
Can
Well,
I
happy
have some?
Father's Day to Leroy.
Yes, and everyone in chat, happy Father's
Mhm.
Day. Let's see who we've got. Von Stugel's here, Johnny Cage. Oh my lord, take this soul, lay me at the bottom of the river. Did you see what I titled the show today, George?
Yes.
Take me to the river.
Throw me in the water.
George is going to be running it today.
No.
NCM, please be a good stream. I can't take another bad one after global frequencies. Oh, geez, what happened there? Erith Saga's here. Scrolling down, Beampad. I'm not so new anymore, Beampad. You've been here a little while now.
Mhm.
Good to see you. B Rose is in the house. Back Lumina Vox. Yeah, give it a check. Jose Garcia. Shane O'Sullivan sold some art yesterday, apparently, George.
Mhm. He might have gotten a job too. I'm not sure. Dojo Kun was reaching out to him about maybe a future job.
Very nice. Random task. Jim Cox opening his packages, reading books. Who is this person? It's not Jim.
We need to put a welfare check out on Jim Cox. Make sure it's
right.
Yeah.
Rob appreciation stream. That was great. So there's going to be a day, apparently, 15 minutes every 4 years where we're going to do an appreciation stream for me. And this sounds fantastic.
Every day is Appreciation Day for Rob. We all appreciate you, Rob.
Oh, that's so nice.
That's
I
bullshit.
borrow ideas. You boys all read Monster MD.
There's a review up of Monster MD on my channel.
All right, George, what are we doing?
Well, Jim yesterday, I got to mention Jim, I borrow ideas, Shane O'Sullivan, Johnny Cage. I saw all those folks in the auction streams yesterday, and quite a few of them won pieces. I think Shane actually sold a piece. Jim actually beat me out on an auction I was the most excited about. So I hung my head in shame, but I redeemed myself before the end of the day.
Not today, Arnold. How did you know my last name? Oh my God. Doxed. Thank you for being a friend, Rob. Oh, thank you, Black Rose. All right, George, what are we doing? What are we doing today?
Well, here's what happened. About a week ago, we were on this show, and you were asking what was new on the splintering.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking about it, and Michael's like, I think I'd like to have Blake on my show. And I watched the replay of the show, Bancroft and Blake from the Splintering. If you guys haven't checked it out, go give it a check out. It was a good interview. And one of the questions Michael asked was when they were talking about some of the things on the Splintering, which included the crowdfunding reviews that we do, was what was the highest rated review you ever had on your site? Aww. He did beat me. I was convinced I was going to win that one. He won the double page poster.
I tried to spite George once on the EBS auction too, Jim. Don't feel bad.
And then someone beat both of us.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we were going.
As long as you didn't win, though, George, that's all I cared about.
Thanks. I appreciate the both of you.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Michael said, what was the highest rated campaign you ever had on your reviews? And when he asked that, he didn't know the answer. And to be honest with you, I didn't know the answer. Now, what he did remember was the lowest rated review. It just seems to be the way people's brain works. Like they'll remember like the most negative thing, but not the positive thing. I don't know why that is.
Unless the positive thing's about you, then you remember.
Okay. So anyway, what I did was I went back and I compiled every review I ever did. So I'm not including Amanda. I'm not including Brian. I'm not including Blake. I'm just including everything I did. Mm-hmm. And I went through all of my grades for all of the categories. And it wasn't even just comics. It was hardcover books, art books, toy campaigns, you name it, cards. I went through every single review and I compiled a list of everything I've done, A through F, and rated all of them to get to the highest graded books I've ever listed. So that's what I wanted to go over very, very briefly today. We don't have to harp on it. But, if you haven't checked it out, it's on the Splintering. I'll put a link in the chat for you guys to check it out. But it's a great website. It's a great resource. George is gatekeeping others' reviews. No, I'm not.
All right, let's get into it, George.
So I've reviewed 11 items, I'll say, between comics, cards, toys, and hardcover books. 9 were from Indiegogo, 2 were from Kickstarter. And 2 of the items I've graded that are below B, and that's my range. If it's below a B, I don't have it anymore. Most of my items ranged in the B range, and there's only ever been 2 campaigns that had an overall grade in the A range. Now, none of them were A; both were A minus.
Do you want to bring up your chart, George, and we'll have a look?
Oh, sure.
This is brutal.
All right. Share. Boop. Tell me you can see my screen. So this is everything that I've ever reviewed, all of the categories, all of the final grades. And if I go to the final grade and choose anything that ended in an A, I got 94 by Shelby Robertson and Replicator Remastered by Rob Arnold. Those are the only 2 campaigns I've ever graded that got an overall A. Now you can see here, they were both A minuses, but those were indeed, to answer Michael's question, the 2 highest rated things I've ever ranked on the splintering. So most people usually want to know the negatives. They want to know what didn't do well. You know, you can see certain things did get failure grades in certain categories. Nothing overall.
Well, but let's start at the bottom and work our way up. I'm interested in those 2 Fs that I can see on the page.
Here and here?
Yeah, talk us through those and why that happened.
Okay, that's actually pretty simple. With this one, this 101 Drawings by P. Craig Russell, Communication and Fulfillment, this book took almost 2 years to fulfill. Now, it was always going to be delivered very late. Like, wherever the delivery date was, it was a year in advance. But it was actually even 10 months late upon the late date. And there was very little communication from the crowdfunder to the backers, and he took the weird step of deleting his prior updates. So you can go in and look at updates, and let's say Professor Murph has 51 updates, right? As an example, this person would delete all the old ones, so there would always just show one. So you really had no idea what was happening with the campaign. I hated that. But what made it even worse was there was people in the comments section saying stuff like, where's my book? What's going on? And this person was extraordinarily nasty to them. And that to me was F. Once you're snippy with your backers, I'm done with you. Now, I do want to stress that the person that's the artist is not the person that was running the campaign. So don't take it like that. It was just an art book, and this was his person that was representing him. But that I remember very vividly. And I got to tell you, this isn't easy for me to do. I don't like doing this. I don't like messing with people's money. I'm just giving you my own experience. And I do want to stress, if you had a different experience, you can write your own review on the splintering, or you can go put a comment. You don't have to write a whole review. You can just go into the comment section and say, I disagree with you, and this is why. You're totally free to go do that. Please feel free to go do that, actually, if you had a different experience than me. So that was that campaign.
So before you get on the next one, how is Bancroft going to score on that system, George?
We're not going to tell you. It's not time to review yet.
I have to review. I can't predict.
Okay.
So that was that campaign. In packaging and shipping, this is the one that was shipped to me in a comic book bag with no board. In a paper envelope from another country. So that one got an F for packaging and shipping.
That is that's pretty crazy.
Yep. Now the lowest I ever got for stretch goals was a D.
Oh my God!
Do you consider D failing?
Yes, I do.
It was Graham Nolan. I thought his stretch goal items were poor quality. So those are my 3 negative comments to campaigns. Overall, though, I still liked Graham's book. You can see I gave it a B overall. I gave his book quality and content an A. I really enjoyed the book.
This is killing Leroy, but our viewers are going up, Leroy. So George is on something here.
Yeah, spreadsheets. Let's do it every week and see how it works out.
The problem I had with the Shanu was that he offered 2 items as stretch goal bonuses. One was a bookmark that was flimsy and one-sided, and one was a trading card that was the most unusual sized trading card I've ever seen. It wouldn't fit into a normal sleeve. So I actually don't even have it anymore.
Here's why I like our reviews, George, more than your reviews on Splintering, is because I weight stuff, right? So I don't like the shipping and the whatever. I care about how good the book is mostly.
No, I understand.
Right. So I mean, I think it's a little when I read your reviews on the Splintering, that you weight them all the same, it just skews it for me. I want to know if the book is good. I want to know if the art's good. I want to know, and you do go into that. I'm not saying you don't. But at your final grade, you don't weight it, and
I don't.
I'm
He's
just
right.
like, eh.
And a lot of people have told me, I really think the book quality and content should be the number one thing, more than almost everything else combined. But my point on that is, what if the book is tremendous, but it took 3 years to get to you? Do you care at that point? I don't know what level it is that people are okay with waiting and saying, I'm okay with waiting this long. I really don't know. Like, let's say Rick Saylor's willing to wait 2 years, but Jim Cox isn't waiting. I'm just making names and dates up. 6 months. I can't wait that. I don't know how to say one's more important than the other.
You got to take each book on a case-by-case basis.
Bingo. So that's why I do it the way I do it. Now, what if the book is tremendous and it comes in a paper envelope?
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Like, George may have got his book in perfect condition, but if the person is shipping
that would include
thousands
the physical
of them around the world.
The physical quality of the book, how you receive it, is the physical quality. So, I mean, I wouldn't consider that shipping. I'd say that's the physical quality of the book. If it comes in tatters, then that's how you got it.
Yeah, but there's also the fact that George could have got his perfectly, right? Mm-hmm. But everyone else could have got theirs ruined because of the way it was shipped.
Then George gives it an A, then everybody else gives it an F.
And please, like I said, go out there. You know, Rick Saylor, I know, is a huge backer. If he backed the Shanu and he loved those stretch goals, I want him to go and put in the comment section, I disagree, and this is why. That would be great to hear.
I think the great thing about
what about a Ziploc bag? What's the grade for that? To be honest with you, a Ziploc bag costs more than a bag and board. I'm impressed with that because it really protects against moisture.
I think that's why it's healthy to get a lot of reviews instead of just everybody rely on George's review. Because George looks at, when we compare and contrast too, we look at things differently. So the more we get out there, the better. The more reviews. Especially if people have read comics for a long time. I think, know what's up. So
bring it back up, George.
Oh, okay. I thought you guys didn't want to see it anymore.
No, I want to see it. If the book arrives undamaged, who cares? Well, that's the thing.
That's
like, if it's shipped in a paper bag, it may arrive undamaged for George. But what are the chances are if you buy it, it's going to arrive undamaged for you? Pretty slim.
I want to go back to the 2 that were the A's overall because they were different. Look at Replicator's book quality and content, A-.
Damn.
But then look at the rest of the grades. Whereas look at Shelby's book quality and content and look at the rest of his grades.
Oh, so if I'd been better at communication and packaging, I would have had the highest score ever.
And I did go back to see what I thought you did wrong because I actually documented this stuff pretty well. When you packaged everything, you put the prints in a box, but you didn't cover the prints.
I knew this is just going to be about shipping the entire hour. I knew it was going to cover this.
Michael Bancroft,
the whole hour on shipping.
Michael Bancroft is putting his prints in a bag, and then they're going to look beautiful. Rob just laid them in there. I mean, they were susceptible to moisture damage.
I don't think you need to review quality and content, communication, stretch goals. All you should do on the quartering is review shipping, George. That's it.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
It is crazy, though, because, like... we didn't have Gemini mailers at the time, so I used a box thing that I found. Yeah, and 99% of them were fine. It arrived undamaged, but then you have one that looks like it's been attacked by ninjas and thrown off the Grand Canyon. No, it's crazy. Like you don't know what has happened to that one box, so it's just craziness.
Yep. So yeah, it's a good mixture of stuff here. Like I said, there's stuff from Kickstarter. This is a yo-yo campaign, if you can believe that. This was the highest graded book I've ever reviewed. Xenozoic by Mark Schultz. I don't know if the chat's willing to count that because it was a reprint of content that was from 20 to 30 years ago. So as far as new material, it was probably the Shinu.
And I disagree vehemently with that, by the way.
Of the books I've reviewed,
you and I we disagreed.
I remember you gave the story a C and I gave it, I want to say, a B or an A.
Yeah.
I remember that. There's a review for that, by the way.
Jim Cox says he expects the Lucent coming in to smell like French perfume.
That sounds nice, actually.
I'm sure your wife would really enjoy that, George.
Is shipping price a factor in the shipping grade?
I do sometimes mention that, mostly from the U.S., because a lot of times people will ship stuff media mail and charge us $10, and that annoys me to no end. So I will include that. Like, I've been more vocal about that lately.
Shelby double bagged it. A great philosophy.
He does. He puts them in a bag and a board, and then he sticks them in a larger bag.
So
George, bring it back up again. We haven't finished looking at it yet. I know this is killing me.
We're done.
I just want to know. So with the packaging and shipping, it needs to be in the prints need to be in a bag. What was wrong? What do you want to see with communication fulfillment from the creators?
I want to know, especially when the book is running late, more often updates on what's going on, where you are in the process of the book. I have finished 24 of the 48 pages. I know I'm running late. This is what I'm doing this week. Not like, oh yeah, look what's coming. Here's the next page I did.
Don't worry, you're getting it. Don't worry, you're getting your book.
Yeah. Don't worry, it's coming. Like, I want timely updates with concise details. That's what I am looking for, especially when the book is late. Like, let's say your book is due December of 2021, and you can say, look, guys, I'm plugging along. Right now, I'm on schedule. That's fine. But
honestly, George, here's my thing. Is like what we expect is well out there by now. Like I just don't like it, the expectations are already out there. People should know by now what the fans expect. It's no secret anymore, and that people. Rob, I mean, I don't understand what your question's all about. You know exactly what we expect. We say it all the time. It gets frustrating that people don't understand. I guess it's mind-boggling to me.
I don't know if they do know, Leroy. That's like you've said it before, but I don't know if it gets through. I don't think even me. Like I updated this month, but is that enough? I don't know. Maybe
a lot
not.
of times I don't get notifications. I just want to read some of the chats because I can't see the chats when I'm sharing my screen. Get over to I won auctions from Shelby. He packaged everything amazing. Yes, his packaging was so amazing. It stood out to me. It's one of the reasons why he graded so high. Yeah,
that's what George wants right there. Yes,
I want bought it in the safe.
I want them in mint condition. Like, there is a reason why grading of comics is a multi-million-dollar industry, because the condition of the comic means something, and it means something
because of speculation. That's why. It's real.
Not just speculation.
So
that's my opinion. People can disagree. People can say it doesn't matter to them how the book arrives in the condition it's in. To me, it matters significantly. You took care, though. You did the whole wax seal. You did a lot of stuff I liked, but at the same time, you put the comics in a box that was oversized to fit the print, and the comics were then sliding around in there, right?
I'm okay with every third or fourth book having tracking. It reminds me to check my PO box. The books that came without tracking are a pleasant surprise. Very interesting. Leroy, what's going on over your side of the woods? What happened on the show yesterday?
We had a show. Yeah, people seem to enjoy it. I thought I did a terrible job. A lot of people came up to me and said how much fun they had. So I'm glad people had fun.
I enjoyed it. I actually appreciate that he actually has a show because it gives fans the opportunity to say what they think. It's tough sometimes. You have to bite your tongue on, like, if you're a guest, like I'm a guest here, you do let us speak freely, and I appreciate that. But for the most part, fans kind of have to be respectful of the show that they're on. And Leroy lets all of the guests and the chat speak freely, and I appreciate that. Thank you, Leroy.
Yeah, it's a great show. It's like probably my favorite. Probably that show, then Bancroft's probably my top two. Because I like hearing what the fans think about things, and like as a creator, you see stuff and you think no one else sees it, but the fans are switched on, man. They pick up on everything that's going on.
No, you have the people, and it's people think like, well, you're in touch. No, Jim Cox, Rick Saylor, Eric Von Stugel, these guys make the show because I play my show off of their comments. Like I take what they say. It's those guys. It's not. Those guys are just as important as anybody else. Those are big time backers. They're backing a lot of books. They are switched on. You know, they're not dummies, and they've got great bullshit detectors. All those guys do. So
they really do. Like some stuff, like I was saying, you think that only you see it, but you know, I get fans that DM me and go like, "What the hell is that about? That is some bullshit." And that's really cool, man. It's really cool to see that, you know, everyone knows what's going on. It was great, regardless of Rob's appreciation thing.
We are going to do that. You guys, the people. I want to explain something to the people in the chat. Look, we even behind the scenes, Rob, we wear your ass out every day. We talk shit on you. It doesn't matter, rain, snow, or shine. You're going to get it. And we need to have one day. You know those 2 weeks where I didn't call you old for 2 weeks, George?
Yeah. You made that miserable, by the way.
We need to have one day where we're nice to Rob. One day.
That sounds lovely.
Yeah, just one day. It's fine.
Jim says Xenotype came in an oversized box and one of the prints was dinged up. The book was okay though. I didn't get that one. Rick
Saylor says, I don't want to wait over a year and spend a lot to have my book showed messed up. And that's how I feel too.
Oh no, I agree with you. I really do. But I'm just saying, I expect it was like our last review, George, where we were going over the physical quality of the book. I'm like, well, there's a Comicsgate standard now. I'm not gonna. We have a certain expectations now. We have expectations that the book shows up in good physical condition. It's a good physical because those aren't graded anymore. That's a given. That's expected for me.
There's still books that are like, you keep on thinking like $25 is a 48-page perfect bound book, but I've seen $25 campaigns. You're asking too much, Leroy. Being nice to Rob can lead to him building some type of self-esteem.
I need to pull up our DMs, Rob, and show these guys one day. Just clip some of the shit that you caught from us. Just pull up the one-liners.
I've seen $25 campaigns that are saddle-stitched. I've seen $25 campaigns that are not 48 pages. So you keep on saying there's a standard, but I don't agree.
No, the standard is that it comes here in good condition. Like, that's the shipping standard. Your book comes in mint condition. That shouldn't be graded as an A. That should be freaking expected. It should be expected that the book arrives in mint condition. You shouldn't get bonus points for that. That's a bare minimum requirement to me.
Okay.
Eddie says, go, George.
How about Eddie Winkler's example, the way his book was packaged with the poster not folded, but rolled.
Eddie went above and beyond because of the
shipped priority.
Yeah, and Ethan does that too, by the way.
Yeah, Ethan got the only ever A+ for shipping.
There you go.
So that's what I'm saying. I do note this stuff.
I forgot what I was going to say. What did you miss, Eddie? George and Leroy disagreeing about something about shipping. Rick Saylor, I never talk shit to Rob. He hooked me up and fixed my problem immediately. Stand up man to me. Yeah, that's the thing. Like maybe it doesn't always come across with all creators, and all creators are different, but like the backers to me mean heaps, right? If there's a problem, I have to fix it because they might not be around next time. So it's really important to me.
And that too, George. Like, I had a discussion with somebody the other day, and they were like, "How would you explain if somebody as a creator wanted to come Comicsgate? Like, how do you explain Comicsgate?" And we can go through all the drama of the mainstream and versus us and whatever. And I wouldn't even say that first. The first thing here in Comicsgate, I would say, is the creator needs to believe fans first, much like Rob does. He believes it. It's in his mod. His behavior dictates that. His interaction with fans it dictates that. But I would say that you have to believe it. It's not some charming little quote that we use to it's not a slogan. We believe that. And to me, that's the expectations of the fans now, is fans first. That's not, you don't get extra points from it. We start at that level, like it's fans first. You don't get extra points for being that way because we've come to expect that here. And there's a reason for that. We can discuss why we feel that way or whatever. But that's the baseline expectations is you're going to come over here. You want to be a creator. You better believe fans first.
And back to the shipping for a sec. Sorry, Leroy. It's been like the Gemini mailer is the standard now. So if you're not using that, then you risk going below the standard of what people are expecting.
Right.
Right. So there's no excuses really to not use a Gemini mailer or something at least as similarly as good as that.
Even Eddie had his books inside of a Gemini mailer in his like cool box.
Did he?
Mm-hmm. I didn't have that.
Did he not? Oh, maybe no. I was thinking about another campaign.
You're thinking of the Bobcat.
Oh, I was. Thank you.
Original art delivery should have the same delivery expectations as all books. All the things we buy need to ship securely. Yeah,
this is. I gotta talk about this one. I'm sorry. I've had campaigns where I have had them shipped in between 2 hard pieces of cardboard in a priority box. I've also had campaigns where they are placed in a padded mailer, and that's it.
That's crazy.
Okay, so like this stuff is important to me. I understand Leroy's point is not that it's not important. He's saying it's a standard that everyone should be following. But if I don't speak up about this, people are not going to understand what the standard is. And you can see people in chat are talking about it. I have our Diaz is mentioning it. Rick Saylor is mentioning it. We want this stuff to be like, we are spending a lot of money on this stuff. We're not spending $10. We're spending $25 plus shipping to have this stuff sent to us. We want you to care for it as much as we care about getting it. That's what we're asking.
Absolutely. And I do think there is a problem with original art, George, and it has been, and we may need to bring that up, like you and I, when we're sometime, is I have noticed, like Eric's saying, is people getting original art damaged, and it's not quite as simple as putting it in a Gemini mailer, but there's still no excuse for if somebody bid $300 for a piece of art, it better show up in good condition.
Like, let me grab my original art package and stuff.
I want to tell you what Eric Weathers did. Eric Weathers, I bought a page of art from him, put it in a, those baseball card size top loaders. He put it in a comic book art size top loader with a secure piece of cardboard in it, in a cardboard box before he sent it to me. Absolutely came in perfect condition. So Eric Weathers knew to care for that package. And that meant a lot to me when he did that. And I actually told him, I'm having trouble with my mail. I'm getting it done slow. And he charged me no extra money and shipped it UPS. That's going above and beyond, if you ask me. So that's just, I want the art to be perfect.
No, and we agree. We just disagree on the process of grading. Like, we both agree, like, it should show up in mint condition, period. It's just me, I expect it. It's not like a pleasant surprise that it showed up in mint condition.
Rick Saylor says original art is the most important, and it's a lot of money. You got to expect them is going to go postal with your stuff.
Yeah, I would agree.
So I'm pretty sure I heard EVS did this, so that's where I got the idea. You ship it. This is just a sample. This is a masonite board. So you ship it in between 2 pieces of that, and that is thick. Let me show you. Let me go full screen, like right. That is the real deal.
I'm gonna have to call your wife and tell her you got a knife. She probably doesn't know about that shit.
She only just let me take the helmet off, Leroy. So please don't tell her about the knife. That is what you should at least be doing. Masonite board in between two pieces in a bag, George.
Yes, prevent moisture damage. I had one piece of original art with a bent corner, but it was clear that it was bent before the artist packaged it. It was in some solid packing.
Hope it wasn't mine.
I'd like to know stuff like that before I buy it and spend a lot of money on it. If it was bent, just be like, hey, there's a crease here. I'm just letting you know. Something like that.
I've had original art arrive 2 months later. Wait till you see my OG art boxes. Okay. Yeah. Rob Looper does one of Masonite is too heavy. It is heavy, Antoine. Yeah, it is heavy. But it doesn't really matter. You're trying to get it to wherever it is. Yeah, trying to get where the package where it is safely. Your package original art weighed a ton. Yeah. I thought EVS put his stuff in the top loader as well as sandwiching. I don't know. I don't know about
EVS. But Eric packaged things extraordinarily well.
But both of you have bought or won original art that has come just packaged terribly, which is just crazy to me.
Who, me?
Yeah, you've won stuff.
I don't. Yeah, but not. It's not like if it's free, I just get it to me. I can't grade it, and I've only got one thing. Or look, I've gotten some original art pieces, and they all showed up just fine. So I've never had anything show up as far as original art like crappy.
I had my lunchbox from Patrick come, and it looks like my mailman used the box to stand on. Let's just say the inside didn't feel. That's such a shame, man. When that happens,
yeah, that would piss me off.
I hope Patrick sorted that out for you, Rick. I'm sure he did. He seems like a great dude. So we had that art auction yesterday. Did you guys watch it?
I won. I won an item. Jim Cox beat me on the one I was trying to steal earlier in the morning, but I won something later on in the morning. Eric McIntyre was there. Rick Saylor was there. Mr. Von Stugel, I think, was there too.
It's turning into the Wizard of Oz now. You were there, and you were there.
I haven't seen it.
I know Ibarra Diaz won some items. Rick Saylor, I think, and Ibarra were going back and forth on a cool Jason Bascom set of art. I think Rick won.
Oh my god, this pains me, George. Listen to this. I received 3 original art pages from a creator that was not secured, and they shipped the comics inside along with the art with the stretch goals. The stretch goals were loose and messed up the art, and there was tape on the actual surface of the art.
Yeah, it's the same thing as pins with books. If I'd never seen a pin as a stretch goal, I'm gonna scream.
Yeah, I don't understand the whole process of why would you put something metal in. Like we're buying comics. Like we're buying it's paper. Like don't put anything metal in there.
With points. Yeah.
Romper Room. No one here remembers Romper Room, Jim. I remember Romper Room, but no one here remembers it.
You just told me I didn't remember Run DMC and you were wrong, George. You don't know what people
You remember Romper Room?
No, but I remembered Run DMC.
Anton says, I think you can ship in a priority box with cardboard and bubble wrap and add insurance if necessary, but Masonite, I use that for the actual painting. Yeah, I believe it has to get there perfectly. Otherwise, what's the point?
Can I say something real quick? I want to shout at Antoine. I really gave him a hard time on the Bancroft show because he asked for it. He really did. I mean, he literally asked for it. But he's a well-spoken and he's good on stream, so I hope we see him on stream more. So shout out to you, Antoine.
And I like his art.
I do too.
I missed that stream. I'm actually really annoyed. I wanted to see that.
You can still watch the replay, Rob. That's how I saw it.
Yeah, but I can't. I don't like replays, George, because I don't feel like I'm there. I need to be there. I need to be there in the moment, insulting Michael and supporting Antoine. But yeah, by all accounts, he's a really good speaker on the stream, so that's good. Pins are okay, taped to the cavities and outside of the book, but I don't like pins anyway. Does anyone like pins?
I don't.
No, it damages your book. I've never had a pin stretch goal that didn't dent the book. It's never happened. So please, creators, no more pins.
No more pins. No more folded out posters. I don't want
Well, fold-out posters is not. They don't damage anything, and that's
at least they don't. Yeah, exactly. At least they don't damage anything.
I mean, I'm just gonna like stash it in my closet somewhere and never use it, but you can still give them. It's fine. Or you could dress up like a sumo wrestler at 100,000. That's what I would say.
There are so many questions about that, Leroy.
No, there's not.
So he's not going to have a shirt on while he's wearing the sumo.
He said he was going to buy tassels for his nipples so they either cover him. It's going to be great.
Oh my gosh. What is Romper Room?
It was a little kids show. Like they would have like the teacher and all the kids, and they would just have like activities and sing songs. It was a show like, gosh, 40 to 50 years ago.
Yeah, see, yeah, I brought ideas. He knows your process, Rob.
56 prints. Yeah.
Rob's like, let's add another stretch goal. Let me give it some thought. And then 3 days later, he's like, I'll do a print, and we're all shocked.
I'll use the posters someday. I like that Eddie was able to roll up his poster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Leroy loves that.
Yeah, that was well done by Eddie. Eddie did a great job. Great job. I don't care if Australians didn't get their books yet. Me and George did. That's what matters.
Oh, that's right.
Your hashtag just a creator. Who cares?
Hashtag just an Australian creator.
That's even worse. Yeah.
I know. No one cares. No one cares about us, guys. I'm not a fan of the tchotchkes. Where did tchotchkes come from? I've never heard that word before.
I've heard it
before CG.
Like knickknacks.
I love taking my computer to LAN parties, and you guys have seen it, right? It's the side of it is nothing but CG. I love stickers and trading cards. Like
I like the bonus items too.
Yeah, and I know Antoine and Eric McIntyre don't, but I would say that they're in the minority. I'd say most of us do appreciate, and you get people saying, "Well, I want prints instead of trading cards or whatever." But most people do enjoy the little things like that.
Someone sent me a crowdfunded book in the mail, and I got it, and I didn't buy it. They just had an extra copy, and I said, "Why do you have an extra copy of this book?" And he said, "I think it was a stretch goal. If you bought it and it went to a certain level, then you got a second copy of the book for free." Have you ever heard of that before?
You know, no. I don't think we shot a Graham out for a while, but I do like that he gave us a digital copy along with the physical copy. So when you bought the book, he emailed you a digital copy and as well as a physical copy, and that was really great.
Rob did that.
There you go.
I couldn't care less about the digital copy.
Yeah, well, I think because we were doing a review,
it's the only reason it was useful. I really have no use for a digital copy.
I wouldn't mind having a folder with all the books that I backed, digital copies. But I understand some people just don't believe in digital, and I get it.
But then again, like some people want to keep the comic in its bag and board, and they just want to read it, but they don't want to take it out. Like I've had people say that to me before, which is strange.
I'm not even taking. I'm going to get the Groken Bee cover. That book, I'm getting it framed. I'm not going to touch it.
That's awesome.
Go right to a frame. Yeah,
they sell prefabbed frames for comic books. You can just buy.
Well, I mean, George, we've talked about what I'm going to do. It's not.
Oh yeah.
What are you going to do?
We can talk about it after the stream.
Unbelievable.
Wait, Rick Saylor says pins and patches I can go without. I totally agree. Random Taz says I use the bookmarks. I do too. It's one of the very few things. I just throw them on my shelf back there in one of the drawers. So I don't have all my bonus items together. I keep things based on where they're at. Like I put the cards in like baseball card pages. I put the bookmarks in the drawer where I read my books. The prints I put in a portfolio. So I put stuff all over the place.
Jim's got a good idea, actually. Jim, I don't know if you were serious or not. He's like, if I wanted to dive into another new hobby, all patches would become coasters encased in resin. That would be kind of cool, actually.
No. My patches are earmarked for Mr. Von Stugel. If I ever meet him, they're all his.
Random Task says, I like prints better than trading cards. My eyes do better with the bigger picture. What do you think of that, Leroy?
I think everybody can have an opinion. I'm not always right.
I like Prince.
I Borrow Ideas says the only tablet that Georgia uses are made of stone. Jim's 100% serious.
I would say that's cool because I've seen a couple cool patches. You know what those resin blocks are where you can see through them, Rob?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he's talking about. I think that would be cool.
I actually like the metal bookmarks. They look good on the wall, says Rick. Everyone's doing them now. Have they lost their kind of sense of excitement?
I just don't care.
I've never gotten one. A metal.
Yeah, you have. Oh, you got a metal trading card though.
No, I didn't. I don't have a metal.
Go look through your Sovereign Wolf. Look through your Sovereign Wolf stretch goals, George. You got one.
Okay. I don't think I did.
I'm telling you, you did.
Epoxy resin. Yeah. I've seen people make like coffee tables where it's like wood, but it's all like caved out, and then they make like a beach with like the epoxy resin. Looks sick. Jim Cox coasters. Yeah. So you had Kenneth on the other day, Leroy, and that was a great stream by all accounts.
That was my second favorite stream I've ever done, next to the Broken Closeout stream. Kenneth is an absolute joy to have around. It's so great to talk to him. He's so humble. He's so kind with his time. I love the guy. You know, he is my favorite creator in CG. But that it doesn't go to his head. That he's just so humble about it is great. So I love having him on.
It's when he's around, it's kind of just like he's just another person. Like he's not like a creator or a fan.
Exactly.
He just hangs out. Like with me or Bancroft, you definitely know we're creators. But with Kenneth, he just fits in so seamlessly.
One time I want to get him on, and I think the coolest thing is if you talk about Silvestri around Roquefort, he'll totally fan. He gets into a fan. You could see him totally turn him into a fan. Yeah, so there you go. So that was great, and everybody seemed to enjoy it. If you guys haven't seen it, like go over to my channel. Everybody in here in the chat is already subscribed, but go over there, look at that, watch that stream, and we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to have Shane on it with and do Metalman. So I think George wants to be on that one. So maybe.
Well, I want to read it first. I have to let Leroy know if I liked it or not. It's got to be a feel good stream. So, and I can't pretend.
Okay.
And what are you gonna talk about with Shane? You're gonna just talk about his art and his process?
It'll be the same thing. I'll get. I reached out to Clint Stoker already. He's already said he is very cool at coming on as a writer's perspective to the book, and I've got some feelers out for an artist. So we'll have an artist on, we'll have a writer on, and George and some fans, and we'll talk with Shane about Metalman. It'll be fun. It'll be a good time.
I remember you asked Mark what it's like having an artist like Kenneth on a book, something along those lines.
Well, I don't think I asked that because I know he'd never have an artist like Kenneth on a book.
Oh, it was something along those lines, though, wasn't it, George?
I remember a very similar question. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Or if you had, I don't remember the question, but
yeah. Well, I thought about it, and I think the thing is, you can give Kenneth just the basic storyline, and he's going to nail it better than what you'd imagine in your head. I think that's the real difference between someone of Kenneth's level as opposed to someone who's a lot less experienced. Like you have to really tell them what needs to happen and make sure it's on point and that kind of stuff. It's so much.
I disagree with you a little bit. I think that's inherent to Kenneth. Yeah, I think it's inherent to him because you can go back to his first books in Top Cow, Hunter Killer, Cyberforce, and they're just it's just as dynamic.
Yeah,
Eric, that's a good thing. Sometimes me and George, we disagree like that. I like George actually, and I hope everybody has a friend like this where you can just totally disagree about something, but just still enjoy each other's company. It's so great to have that.
Who else is on Kenneth's level? Not on Kenneth's level, but like a top pro level artist, right? They just seem to understand it and knock it out of the park better than what you can imagine. So
Ethan did a stream, and I was talking to George about this, and this was a couple months ago. He actually drew Cyberfrog live on stream, and it's been a while since he had done that. And it's easy to forget how great he is too. This process of how he just goes straight at the inks. You're watching him draw a Cyberfrog for the book live, and you keep thinking he's going to screw up because he's just on top of blue scribbles, and it turns out amazing. Kenneth isn't alone. There's some great artists out there.
With Kenneth, right? He does watercolors for his covers. Is that right?
A style, a painterly style, we call it. Yeah.
Okay, but are they actual
mixed media?
Mm-hmm.
So is it actual digital colors then, or is it
on this book? On Groken, it's digital.
The covers are traditional, but he does mixed media, so it could be like colored pencil, marker, or watercolor. It could be any of those or all of them.
Wow, that's really
but
cool.
The interior, yeah, digital. I think he said.
How much would you love just to see him like do a page on the book like live? That would be amazing. He won't do it though, will he?
No, he won't do it. He's very
it's a shame, man. That's a shame. That'd be so sick to see.
Eric's saying Superman is human and Earth gets destroyed. It's a fun story. I don't know what book
he's recommending a book that I read.
Oh, okay.
Because he likes it, so assuming I'll hate it.
Okay. Bancroft says Roquefort uses magic.
Like, I know like Kenneth and Ethan have been doing this a long time, but surely there's some sort of like inherent genius in both of them as an example.
Right. So George, I'd like to get your opinion on it because you've been around longer than I have reading comics. So we've both been around comics quite some time, and there's always a level. You know, there's people that are inherently, and I think it's in the imagination that no matter how much you try, how technical you get, that has to be there. That element of wonder, I don't know what to call it, but that separates people, George, in my opinion.
Kenneth and Ethan are both very good examples of people who clearly probably were incredible artists when they were young, but you can just see how their art has grown over the course of the past 20 to 30 years, and they're getting even better. So it is indeed part, God-given gift, but also extremely hard work as well. Like, they've gotten to this point because they've worked so hard. So it's a mixture of, these guys were probably always good artists, but they worked so hard to become incredible artists. Does that make sense?
Yep.
George, is there anyone from like the mainstream you'd want to see come over to CG, like art-wise?
I bought a book recently by an artist named Barry Windsor Smith. Have you heard of him?
Mm-hmm.
He just put out his first book in 16 years, and it was brilliant. I just read it. It was a 360-page, black and white, oversized.
Wow.
Actually, I think Michael Bancroft would like it. It was very European style as far as like, format and binding. John Byrne, no.
Max
I know
Smith.
Michael likes Max Smith, but no, like he's just on he can just do whatever he wants. Barry Windsor Smith he can do whatever he wants all the time. Yes. It's tough to answer that question. I know there's guys that have been out of the game for a while. I've heard Ethan mention some of those names. People that were former mainstreamers 20 to 30 years ago that just don't do much anymore. No, I like things just the way they are. Oh, the artists here are already great. I'm excited for some of the people I don't know. Like, I've never seen a book by Michael Bancroft. I know I've seen a lot of digital images, but and Rob, you know this, when you have it in hand, it's way different than when you have a digital image of it.
It's completely different. It really is completely.
So I'm just as excited for some of the new guys as I am from some of the older guys.
What about you, Leroy? Is there anyone you want to see?
I've talked to George and I have talked about it a few times. There's a guy, probably Fabok, I'd love to see come over to Comicsgate. I know that we are looking at Keown, who's kind of in the twilight of his career, but if we can get like somebody like Fabok in here with Davis and Malin and EVS, I mean, you want to talk about some major cred, and we have it now. I mean, Roquefort, Davis, and Ethan, those are some marquee guys at DC. These guys aren't jokes. Shane, I keep telling people, they don't put you on Batman, which Roquefort was on Detective, and Superman, which Davis was on, and Green Lantern at DC if you don't measure up. These three guys between Davis, Roquefort, and Ethan are are stars, and they would be superstars in the mainstream today with their talent. So there you go. I mean, I agree with George. We have a lot of talent over here already.
In the U.S., I know in Australia it's the Phantom. In the U.S., it's Batman. That's just what it is. Like he's just the number one character. And I told Leroy this maybe like a year ago that because there was a rumor that Kelly Jones was going to be in the Cool Story Bro book. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know what the status of it is. But I told Leroy that if Kelly Jones was to come over to CG, every living Batman artist that I like would then be in CG, because you have Graham Nolan, you'd have Kenneth Rocafort, you'd have who was the EVS, obviously. Like everyone would then be here. Everyone that ever did Batman that's still alive, because we lost Jim Aparo, we lost Norm Brayfogle, would be a comic skate artist.
I would have to say, dude, that Brayfogle would give CG some serious if he was still around. You know, he was such a fans first kind of guy. So
he was telling me he was blacklisted 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was crazy. Like I was like, this guy's crazy. 20 years ago, he was telling me he was blacklisted.
So Kelly Jones was great when he did that interview with Graham. Actually,
yes.
Fantastic. I agree with you.
Oh, it makes me wonder how many amazing artists we've had, like in comics, that have just left and disappeared because of bullshit or whatever other choices they've made in their lives.
Can I circle back real quick, George, Rob? Not to derail you, but we talk about those guys and how incredible the artists they are. I think what a lot of people don't understand in Comicsgate is we have a lot of up and coming artists, and they expect success or whatever. Let me tell you, the EVS and Rocafort and Shane spent years wondering how they're going to get their next bill paid.
It's crazy, isn't it?
So, well, no, what I'm saying is there's a saying, for my grandfather, my dad, you got to eat the shit to get the gravy. And it's easy when you're running your first campaign and you're looking up at EVS or Shane or Malin and you're like, well, look at these guys. Why can't I? These guys put a lot of time in at the drawing table. A lot. And they came to CG and they'd already put that time in. So I would say to you guys, like the creators out there that are just learning to draw, artists specifically, it's going to take time. You have to work at your craft. You have to put the hours in at the drawing table. That's what I would say. And
you have to actively try and get better as well. Like actually try and improve. I don't know where I'm going with that.
Well, Shelby was perfect. I actually shared a tweet with George about 3 months ago where Shelby's put out a tweet where he was working on something that he didn't think he was proficient at drawing. And he was actually put out an example. It's like, hey, I never really liked the way I did this. I'm working on it. Here's what I'm working on. I mean, and that's Shelby Robertson. So
Antoine says, Rob, maybe they're better off having moved on. Yeah, and maybe they are. It's such a shame, because I love comics for the art, right? I love seeing just incredible artwork. And I'm sure we've had artists in the past that could have been the next big thing that have just gone away. And that's
so many of them have gone to Hollywood for storyboarding, whether it's for animation or TV or movies. That was happening 20 and 30 years ago, but the comics were just so huge at the time. There was a competition there. Now there's no competition at all.
No.
Yeah.
Watching Shelby draw and ink is a treat, says Ramtez. Shelby is moving up so fast. In fact, he's the one that Jim and I were battling against in the auction yesterday. Was Shelby, and just he's very, very humble person too. You're talking about people that are humble like Kenneth. Shelby is just, and he loves his fans. He's very gracious too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was working on a character design, right? And I can draw a little, and that's been pretty generous. And I showed him, I'm like, I'm trying to do this, and then he broke it down, and explained to me how to do it and make it look better, and gave me examples. He's such a nice guy, and is very he knows a lot about his art, which is great.
Folks in the chat are listing other pros I'd like to see in CG, and almost everyone that's been listed was on Graham Nolan's Storyteller show. Almost everyone that's been listed.
Really?
Yeah, because Eric McIntyre talks about Walt and Weezy Simonson.
It's pretty cool now. Like, we're in a really good spot. Like, Ethan, Shane, Roquefort, Malin, Nolan. Like, there's some big names.
RT Bear,
Bear,
RT
Shelby
Bear.
Robertson, which we always
Mhm.
forget about. Like
Dan Frager. Lots of big names here now. Like, it's not the club it once was, where people can throw insults our way willy-nilly anymore. I don't think, anyway, at least.
not some heavy hitters over here for sure.
But I also like that there's folks that are homegrown that compete with the mainstream. As far as colorist, tell me someone better than Kyle Ritter. As far as letterist, tell me someone better than Eric Weathers. Like, there's folks that are growing up here that are just as good, if not actually they are better. I can tell you right now they're better than what I'm seeing.
We're talking about we have one on the panel with Rob. You have Clint Stoker, who's each campaign doing better than the last. He's homegrown talent. Vaughn Klaus, I know you didn't get Monster MD, but a 6-figure campaign straight from Comicsgate. So yeah, I mean, we're having success here. It's not impossible, guys.
People sleep on Art to Bear. It's crazy, isn't it, George?
No, he is an absolute legend. Like, for Marvel and DC, some of his own. Obviously, everyone knows him from his Image work, but he just the amount of work he's done is unbelievable. It's staggering.
I think he gets probably forgotten a little bit, but the same reason Shelby does is they just don't have big. I mean, when Art T-Bear streams, it's usually during the middle of the day in the U.S. It's like during the workday. And Shelby has just now started YouTubing. And once those guys build their presence up, they'll be fine. And I do forget about Shelby and Art when I mention those guys. But I forget Graham Nolan too. And Graham Nolan is on one of my favorite books, if not the favorite book of all time. So there you go. Max Smith, I think he's got to be close to being CG. But he used a hashtag on Twitter not long ago.
He did.
It's inviting trouble if you don't know what you're doing.
I was talking with a dude from Strictly Comics, and he was blown away by the talent CG has. That's cool. All right, we're close to wrapping it up there, guys. Chat, if you have any questions for us, let us know.
Well, hold on. Antoine saying also they didn't make a mark on high-profile books. T-Bear was on a lot of high-profile books.
Uncanny X-Men. I mean, it doesn't get any bigger than that.
Graham Nolan is on one of the highest-profile books ever made.
Comics.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's it.
Is it an Inca problem? Like, is it they're overlooked because they're an Inca?
No,
like they don't get the respect they deserve because of that fact?
I don't.
No.
Look, I've seen, and we do. You know how we watch the auctions, George, EBS auctions. There's been art that he sells. That's I don't understand how it goes so cheap. Or from art,
crazy undervalued.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this is what I'm trying to say. Art was primarily known for his inking, which is a shame because he's an incredible artist in his own right, just like Shelby is. Do you think that is why he's potentially underrated?
What do you mean by underrated? What are you saying?
In Comicsgate, you mean?
Yeah, like probably doesn't get the recognition he deserves, I think. Is that a fair statement?
Johnny
I think there's certain people that are forgotten and we just forget, and we don't mean to. It's just like Leroy keeps on saying the same thing. I keep on forgetting Sheldon for Uncanny X-Men. Doesn't mean I like it. NSYNC is big too.
NSYNC was big 20 years ago.
Well, who is big? I don't know. Give me somebody. I don't know. Taylor Swift? I don't know. But yeah, like thanks. But no, like it's something you forget. Like you're so much hype about these guys because sometimes you talk about their show. You're talking about EVS or Shane or these guys because of their show. You don't think of Graham Nolan. You don't think of RT Bear when you're thinking of YouTube shows. That's why it's just quickly forgotten.
Yeah,
but then we always come back to it eventually.
Shelby can do everything. That's not many people can. Roquefort can.
Maybe not lettering.
Shane's colors, I've seen them. They're pretty. I mean, those guys, though, like I said, they've put in years in at the table. Shelby has, or Kenneth has, Shane has.
Lil Nas 10?
Lil Nas.
Lil Nas 10? Is that a singer?
He's the old country road guy, isn't he?
I don't know if I agree with Antoine. He says, in my view, I think you need to be hot in the last 10 to 15 years to come in CG to be a big deal. I think that if Keown would put out a pit omnibus, he would beat warts and all. So I don't know if I agree with that, Antoine.
So is all the material for the omnibus done?
Yeah, it's all image books all put out already.
So all he would need to do is compile it
right
in an omnibus and just go, CG, here you go, have a look at this.
Right, and I think it would do better than warts.
Crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy, man.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, dude, just do it. You could make what, 400?
Oh, I think it's over. I think it's over 500. He would do
$500,000. All you got to do is do this and come hang out for a little bit. That seems crazy, man. Get on it. It's nuts. All right, we'll wrap it up there. What are we talking about? Oh, no one knows anymore.
No one ever knows.
See you all later, and have a good one.
Later,
see you
chat.
guys.